Okay, so what kind of information are we talking about that's being mined?
Well, some of it is public information, but some of it is also private information people send through the computers, and including private conversations that people send, because with this wireless communication, everything is essentially put out into the public, and with the proper technology, it's possible to seize that information, and the government is utilizing that to create these profiles based on what private citizens say that they believe they have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Okay, would it be acceptable if the only things that were being mined were pieces of either public information or information that had been sold to the government?
Personally, I don't believe so. I think that data mining is unacceptable in all, I think it's completely unacceptable in all situations, because it's that data mining is essentially looking and prying into information that we can assume the public would not want to be searched for. And I believe that even in the scenario that you put out with the government looking into information that they've already sold out, I don't think that they have the right, because because the people have exhibited an expectation of privacy.
I actually disagree with Ankita. I think that when the information is sold to the government and when this is public information, nobody has any real expectation of privacy that this is going to remain private information. And I think therefore the government can take advantage of this and use this to find potential criminals.
I believe that anything's put out in the open should be accessible by the government. I believe that once you put something out there, people are able to see it, and it's the responsibility of the person who puts it out there to make sure that this information should be put out there in the open, as ruled in cases like Katz v. US and California v. Cirillo. Anything that is put out so that people could see is essentially accessible to people, and so people should be able to use that. So public information, yes, data mining could be used for that. However, I do not believe that data mining could be used for private information.
All right, so if I hear you correctly, and please tell me that I'm not hearing you correctly if I'm not. Your position is that the traditional orthodox rules of Fourth Amendment constitutional interpretation should apply as they are to evolving technologies, that there is no need for any alteration of the standards by which we judge the reasonableness of a search or seizure.
I believe so. I do agree with that in the sense that nowadays we've advanced to such an advanced degree that all our conversations that we have electronically, either telephonically or over the web, is basically conversations that we would have in real life. For example, right nowadays, people treat emails as if they were talking to someone else. And so in that case, I think that the standards that are applied to that are guaranteed under the Fourth Amendment should extend over these rights electronically.
Why shouldn't emails be treated as private communications?
Well, because emails hold the same kind of information that you hold in your homes. They hold private information. According to...
So you say, yes, they should be treated as private conversations?
I completely believe they should. In fact, in certain cases, including US v. Councilman, for example, as well as, US v. Councilman Warshak in the US, emails were basically protected by the Electronic Privacy Act, which basically said that emails are essentially the same things as your personal belongings at your home, because they hold the same kind of information. Therefore, they shouldn't be treated any differently.
According to State v. Reed, the New Jersey Supreme Court ruled that in this digital age, much of private conversation occurs over the internet, yet this fact of modern life must not erode rights to privacy. I completely agree that we have advanced to a point of technology in which we talk on our cell phones, we talk on wireless communication, we talk on internet, IM, as if we're talking to them, next to them. Sometimes I see people texting each other and they're acting as if like they're just talking to them. And I feel that in this fact, we must consider these wireless communications as equal to private conversations.
Could an argument be made, without embarrassing oneself, that when one sends an email over the internet, that the data out there in cyberspace is somehow in open view, and that retrieving it therefore doesn't entail a search in the constitutional sense.
I think that argument definitely could be made, but I wouldn't necessarily agree with it. I think that you could argue that under the open fields doctrine that this is public information, since with the proper technology anyone could technically retrieve it. But at the same time, I think this is the reason why we believe we need to interpret the Fourth Amendment into a new technological context, because just because it's possible to retrieve this information doesn't mean that it doesn't have the same expectation of privacy, because as Kathy mentioned before, I think that the expectation of privacy goes along with the private conversations that people are having.
Okay, let me throw a hypothetical at you, see if I can do it quickly. The three of you conspire to traffic in drugs. You're university students with university email accounts, and you emailed each other, and you're at a private university. University finds out that information, turns it over to the authorities. Now let me just change that up and change it up to a public university. Same situation except for a public university. Is either situation, when the school turns it over, is either situation a Fourth Amendment violation, and why or why not?